Hi everyone, my name's Bill and welcome to my channel. Before we get started, please consider subscribing to my channel and possibly becoming a patron. This actually is my full-time job now, and so my Patreons really do assist me in producing videos for this channel. Now, this video is about the T8 Pro, the RadioMaster T8 Pro. I'm going to show you how to set up a basic model. Now, this basic model is going to have two servos to operate the ailerons, and we are going to set up a safe throttle. Now, a safe throttle is when we use an electric motor, we obviously don't want that thing, accidentally putting the throttle forward and the prop goes whizzing around. Some of the models that I have got very powerful motors which will cut your fingers off. So I'm going to show you how to set that up so that what happens when you have to flick an arm switch first, and then if your throttle happens to be forward, it still won't arm. The throttle needs to come back for more than half a second, and then you can go forward and the throttle will work. So let's switch over to the radio and I will show you how to set this up. Now, the first thing we're going to do is use the model wizard to set up a basic model. So we are going to hit the model button. Now we need to move down. Now what I'm going to do up in the corner here, I'm going to put what these buttons are so that you can see it easier. It's very difficult to see what each button is. Even in bad light you can't see them at all, which is a bit of a shame, but it's not a big problem because you wouldn't be using these buttons all the time, and then you'd normally program the radio at home. So we're going to go across, and then we need to move down to a spare model line. So we're going to number 5. So I'm going to push enter and hold it down. And then I'm going to say create. Now this time I'm going to use the plain one. Now you can see we just need to go page forward. Yes, we have got an engine. So we're going to say yes, that's going to be on channel 3. Now that is our channel mapping that we have in this radio, which is AETR. So yes, we've got ailerons, but this time we need to move down and then go to move down to 2, because we want 2 aileron servos, so we need 2 channels for that. Now we're going to move down because I want to change this. I'm not quite sure why it uses channel 6, because obviously we could use channel 5 for that. So I'm going to push enter, and then I'm going to change that to 5. Push enter, and then we go return. Oh, sorry, page forward. No, we haven't got flaps, so page forward. No air brakes. Elevator and rudder, that is going to be on channel 2 and 4. That's our channel mapping, so page forward. And then long press to set up the model. And there we go. Now we can go page to the right, and we can edit the name now in here and put the name of our model. So I will speed this up. Now to do a capital, you hold down the enter button and enter to be able to take select the letter. So I've done that incorrectly, so all I'm going to do is go round again. Whoops-a-daisy. Let's go round again. I want to show you if you make a mistake. Go back, and we go back, and now we can carry on again. Now when we finished, we push enter. And now we can move down. Now I'm going to set up a timer here. So we can time. You'd have to play around with your model to find out how long the batteries last. But let me show you how to do this. We push enter, and then we move. We move up. We want to say timer. We're going to THS. Now that means on throttle. So the throttle's down, the timer would stop. Push enter, and then move across, and then we can push enter, and we can let's just put 4 minutes in. Right, 5 minutes is cool. Enter. And we're going to move down. We're going to use persistent off, and we're going to let's have a minute call. So we click that one and move down, and then I want to count a countdown timer at the end. So if we move up, we can say voice and 10 seconds, and that should be everything we need to do so far in this window. Let me just check down. Yeah, we are good. Okay, now let's program in the settings for the safe throttle. Now, we're going to go page across until we come to curves. And we're going to push enter, and we're going to push enter again, and we're going to name this cut. There we go, cut, and then we're going to move down. We want standard, and we're going to change this to just 2 points. So we click, and then we bring it down to 2 points and enter. Now we're going to go through to here. We're going to push enter, and we're going to make this, we're dragging that curve point down. Okay, then we click enter, then we move down to number 2, and we're going to click enter again, and we need to drag that down as well to -100 to the bottom of the curve, and push enter and then return. Now we've set up the curve. Now we need to have a look at the logical switches. So we're going to go page forward, and we come to logical switches. Now we're going to push enter. Now in here we need to pick the function we're going to use, and this is A is smaller than X, where A is V1 and X is V2. So now we scroll up until we get to A is smaller than X and push enter. Now V1 is going to be the throttle. So what we do is we click the enter button and then just move the throttle. 1. Okay. Okay, now that actually is incorrect. Let me just recorrect that. We're going to hold the button down. We need to actually pick the stick here. So beg your pardon. We need to actually pick the stick. So we're going to throttle stick. There we go. So you could make the mistake and pick the input. We actually need to pick the stick here. So I'm glad that happened, so you can see that where I corrected it. Now in here we need to put a value of -98. So, whoops, go down, push enter, and -98. And we push, whoops, we push enter. Now that is everything we need to do in logical switch 1. So we can now push return. And we're going to go to logical switch 2. So we're going to move down, push enter. Now here we need to, the function needs to be OR. So we are going to go up and we're looking for OR and push enter. Then we are going to put in the V1 and then in V2 we are going to put logical switch 1 in here. So if we hold the enter button down, we can go straight to the logical switches, and that is the one we need, 1. Then we move down, we hold this enter button down, go to logical switches, and then we need to select 2 here. Now the next part of this is picking the switch that is going to activate this. Now that is going to be our arm switch. Now I'm using SA down here. So this will be when the motor is armed. So we're going to push, oh excuse me, let me just return. We don't need to do that. We need to just push quickly on, let me just show you again on that. Okay, we just need to push quickly and then we flick the switch. So that now is in the arm position. That's exactly where we need it. Now we're going to move down. We just need to put the 0.5 delay. As I mentioned in the opening of this video, that's important because it causes a delay. If the throttle's not put down to full back, the throttle won't actuate. So we're going to push enter. I'm going to go page up until we get to 0.5 of a second. And now we should be good on our logical switches. Now let's move on to the special functions. We're going to go page across. We're going to click the enter button quickly, and we're going to select the switch that we want to use to reset our timer on the fly. So we're going to do that. We're then going to go across, push enter, and we are going to pick, oh there we go, reset timer. Then we need to move across until we activate it by checking that box. There we go. Now we can push enter and we can move down to the next line. Now in the next line we're going to set up the sounds that say our motor's armed or disarmed. So we're going to quickly push the button again, and this is going to be the switch here. This is going to be armed. Now in my case, that's going to be forward. So we push enter, and then we move across, and then we're going to select play sound. We set play track rather. There we go. And then we're going to move across and push enter, and then we're going to, this one we're going to pick armed, enter, and then return. And we can move down to the next line. We're going to quickly push the button, enter button again. Now we're going to put the switch into the disarmed position. Push enter, go across, enter, and this time we're going to say play track again. Play sound, play track. We're going to move across, oops a daisy, enter, and this time we're going to say disarm, enter. And now we should be good to go. Let's just return. So we can test this now.
Armed.
Switch forward, armed.
Disarmed.
And there we go. We've now set up the special functions. Now we need to move on to the inputs and the throttle input. We need to make some adjustments so that the safe throttle will operate. So let's go page across, and we're going to go page right round until we get to inputs. Now here we need to edit the first throttle line. So we're going to hold the enter key down and then edit, and we need to just change in here the switch, and in this case the switch should be logical switch number 2. So we hold the key down, long press, and now we can see logical switches. So we're looking for logical switch 2, and there we go. So we should be good to go here. That should be the only adjustment we need to make in here. Now we're going to push return. Oh, sorry, beg your pardon, push return. And now we need to add a line here to the throttle. So we're going to hold the enter key down, move down to insert after, and push enter. Now we'll go straight into the edit key, now to editing. So we need to go straight down to here, to curve, we'll push enter. We're going to change that to custom. Then move over, and we are going to select the cut curve that we recently made up. Now you notice there was an exclamation mark there. We'll go into that in a minute. Okay, so now we can push enter. Now we need to go down, and in the switches, now this is where the exclamation mark comes into play. If I push enter and say logical switches, and we go enter, this time we're looking for logical switch 2, but with an exclamation mark. Now we need to go one way or the other. Normally I go the wrong way. Let's have a look. Okay, there's the exclamation marks. Okay, there it is, gone past it. Logical switch 2, an exclamation mark. Now I just wanted to quickly explain the exclamation mark in front of the logical switch. This means not that logical switch. We need to push enter, and we should be good to go now. Now let's push return, and come out. Now we can check if the safe throttle is working by, if we go page across, we're going to come up with the channels. So there's our channels. So if I move the throttle,
disarmed.
Okay, now if we disarm, the throttle's not working. You can see that. We've got both our aileron channels, our elevator and our rudder is working, but the throttle isn't. Now, if I've set this up correctly, if I now arm now,
Armed.
the throttle's still not working. But if I push the throttle down for more than 0.5 of a second, and you can see it's working. Let's just light that back up again. And you can see that's working. Let me just go through that again. I'm going to disarm.
Armed.
I've armed, the throttle's not working. If I go down quickly and back up, it doesn't work. If I go down for more than 0.5 of a second, and there we go, it's working. But if I disarm mid-flight, the motor stopped. So that's everything is working nicely. Now the next thing we can do is I want to show you something. If I put this, my arm switch into the position that I like it to be disarmed, and I turn the radio off. And then we turn the radio back on again.
Welcome to OpenTX. Switch warning.
You're constantly going to get that switch warning because the system's set up for all the switches being forward. So we can change that. If we go into the model settings and then go page across, and then we can go page up because I think it's at the bottom. And if we go up to here, you see where it shows S warning. If you hold the enter key down, it will buzz, and now it shows you A is in the position we want. So you put the switches in the position that you will be default, and then you hold that button down and it will set them. So if we return, now if I turn off the radio and turn it back on with my switches where I want them,
welcome to OpenTX.
We won't get a warning.
Disarmed.
Now we've set up our model, let me show you how to bind your receiver to your radio. Let's bind our receiver to the radio. Now I'm going to use a RadioMaster R161 and I'm going to use my Toolkit RC M8S to power it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to hit the model button and we are going to go page across, and then we're going to go page up, and we keep going until we come to the internal RF module. Now we're going to click enter, and then we're going to go page up. Now we want the multi on, so we're going to push enter. And now you have to pick the type of receiver that you are binding to your radio. So that will depend on your receiver. But in my case, we're going to push enter, and I need to find Free Sky. And it's not RX, it's not X, it's X2. That's the version I need to use. And that is good. It is a D16 receiver. And now we then just go down to bind. So let me just show you the full options there. Prime frequency tuning will come in on a later video, but that is important. So we're going to go to bind. Now what we need to do is hold down the bind button on our receiver, which in this case is here. I'm just going to hold that down and plug it into our power supply. There we go. And now we push the enter button to bind. We're now going to choose with this receiver, we're going to put the telemetry on. I'm going to push enter. There we go, and it should already be bound. So now we can undo our receiver, and it's come out to bind. So we plug back in, and there we go. We can see the RSSI. Let me just do that. You can see the RSSI coming through from our receiver. So our receiver is now bound. Now, if we go page across, because this is a telemetry receiver, we should be able to go to our telemetry window and just verify that. Oh, whoops a daisy, I've gone too far. Let's go again. There we go. We go to telemetry, and we're going to go to the bottom, and we can say discover new sensors, push enter, and there you see all the sensors have come up. So we've now bound our receiver to the radio. Now you will do this is exactly the same procedure you would do with whichever receiver you have. You just have to pick the correct protocol. I hope you found this video useful, and if you are new to the hobby and you're a T8 Pro user, please let me know in the comment section below if there's anything that I would be able to help you with. So thanks for watching, happy flying, bye for now.